This is a short PowerPoint show both to teach about PowerPoint pedagogy, but also hopefully uh, present it as well. At the bottom left, there's going to be a note box where I'm talking about what each slide is so that you can take a look at it at your leisure. Start with an title. After the title, start with an introduction, and it should lay the groundwork for what follows, so the students know what is happening. In this case, I'm going to talk about the number of PowerPoints per slide, uh, text and background issues, choice of fonts, font sizes, graphics, animation, graphics and text, and then I'll talk about specifically about animation. Short PowerPoint shows are a lot better than long, boring. Research has shown that more than 8 points per slide is too much. Recall and everything just goes downhill after 8 points. Also keep in mind that the goal of the PowerPoint slide is to prompt you in your presentation and to be an aid to the student's learning. Therefore, they shouldn't be wordy. They shouldn't have everything you want to say. And the only things that's pertinent to the show, to the presentation, should be there. You want a good contrast between the text and the background. I've got two examples there, light on dark and dark on light. I see dark on light a lot better, and a lot of other people agree with me. One thing you should never do is have a graphic background. That is a huge thou shalt not. Fonts, use a clear font. I like Arial. Some people like the Times New Roman. Definitely do not use anything that's like a script or a fancy font. When you're selecting font colors, make sure that it works well with your background. Black is your safe bet, no matter what the circumstances are. Now keep in mind, all the rules that I'm giving you, there are times when you would break them. They are not hard. Okay, font size. Because I'm designing this for an individual to look at on their computer screen and not be projected, I'm using 32 font for the titles, an 18-point font for the screen for the information. You want to avoid really large font and really small font, no matter what the situation is. Now, in this case, I've used font sizes that I would normally use for projection. And so in this case, it's 44 and 32. Note that I'm now limited to 6 points per slide, simply because of the increase in font. A warning, if you try to put too many lines of information, PowerPoint will adjust the font size. In the example you see in the graphic, the font sizes are set to the numbers outside the parentheses, but the number inside the parentheses is the actual font that is being used by PowerPoint. So PowerPoint will override you if you try and force too much information on the slide. If you have to put text on a graphic, be sure to put the text into a text box with a background, a nice plain background. So that makes it readable. Text on a graphic with a clear background normally does not work very well. Now, animation can be done to focus the student's thoughts on exactly what you're talking about, and so they don't go on ahead. So animation should be used sparingly, and it should be something like what I'm doing here, which is simply appear. Do not spin, do not slide. They have real issues when it comes to any sort of equipment. They can smear and whatnot depending upon what you're using. You just want it straightforward. You can also use it as a timeline, so to show progression through time. Graphics, as far as possible, should be your own pictures. If you've got a piece of equipment you want to talk about, take the picture yourself. It might not be as good as what is available on the web, but it's in the background that the students would recognize. It is the tool that they would use. In some cases, you're going to have to use pictures made by manufacturers, that sort of thing. But your graphics should only be for information, not to make things look nice. I'm not really sure what graphic I should be using at this point, but probably not cacti. Avoid clip art. Clip art just is cheap and conveys no meaning whatsoever. So in conclusion, limit the number of PowerPoint slides. Make sure that your text and background work together, that you use a clear font of the right size for the purpose. Use your graphics and text carefully. Limit your animation. Use graphics that are appropriate to the form. And your last slide should be a conclusion where you talk about what you've already discussed. Basically, it's the old adage, tell the students what you're going to tell them what you told them. I hope this has been useful. It's a quick and dirty presentation, but it should do the job.